And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to YSN Primetime Live. DJ Yoakley here. We've got the GM, the world's famous Steve Leslie, the general manager of YSN, and the legend himself down at the end of the table. It is Todd Thorne. Gentlemen, football night in America, and we are live from Stambaugh Stadium, the Ice Castle here in Youngstown, Ohio. Are you ready for this?
I am ready for it. I've been waiting for it a long time. Seems like we just were together over at Massillon with Springfield playing in the state championship game. A lot of good teams, a lot of great games. It's going to be a great year.
Thorny?
Oh, man, just, this time of year, your heart beats a little bit faster. Everything gets a little bit quicker. You start taking that extra Gatorade and having those extra salt pills ready to go just to keep the cramps away, because they're going to be around this weekend. There's no doubt about it.
She's a little muggy. We're under the tent for safety. And I'll tell you what, tonight, I think all of that aside, there's two teams here in this building that are going to be very excited to play some football. The number one ranked Ursuline, the Ursuline Fighting Irish, and Dan Reardon. It's been a long time, guys. We're going to talk about Ursuline, the history. Steve, I remember 3 years ago, next week, in week one, where we saw Brady Shannon start for a team that wasn't very good. Right. And Dan Reardon takes over, and all of a sudden they're ranked number one in the state. How does that happen? And people talk about coaching doesn't take talent. I would argue that all day with a guy like Dan Reardon.
Yeah, Dan Reardon wins wherever he's been. He's won at Ursuline 3 state championships. And I remember that game. Benedictine, Brady Shannon took some hits that game. But you go back to that game, some of those guys that are going to play tonight were those young pups against a great Benedictine team to get to where they're at now. They're skilled. They're coached very, very well. His staff is phenomenal. They had some setbacks last year. That's motivated them. It's a team that can win a state championship.
So a lot of talk this year is going to be about Brady Shannon and what he does in the pocket, what he can do, and how far he can lead this team. But Thorny, you and I talked about a young man that's going to be just as much in the mix of this as anybody else, and that's going to be Dean Boyd.
Dean Boyd is just an absolute stud. Great kid, great grades, everything about him. I mean, now that it's open and out there, I mean, this kid's going to Harvard. He has backup choices that were incredibly behind that, but he's going to Harvard, one of the top 3 colleges in the world.
Writes your ticket.
Not nation, in the world. So anyhow, this kid can play also. We saw him play early last year. We saw some flashes of him, what he can do. But and he gets his scholarships off of what they say he can do. Let's just watch what he can do, because I know for a fact this kid is the real deal.
This isn't your mama's Ursuline. This is a team that's going to air it out. This is a team that can go 5 wide. This is a team that can run it down your throat. This is a team that a lot of people have their eyes on, especially here. But there is another game going on just down the road in 224 that a lot of people have a lot of things going on. The Pawlansky Bowl in Poland, in Canfield. Steve, you got a chance to talk to coach from Canfield last night. What did he have to say?
Yeah, he's excited about it, and Thorny will probably go into this a little bit. Their dad was such a great guy and a big role model in that community. The stadium's named after him. I thought it was neat that they're having family come in from all over and Tom and Mike are in football mode. He said, we'll be able to take a deep breath after the game at 10 o'clock and go over and actually enjoy family that they haven't had a whole lot of chances to see during the year. From a football standpoint, it's going to be a great game. I said in talking with Pav and Thorny, you're big on the O-line. Who could win the offensive line battle? Both of them have lost some folks. Canfield's young. They have 1 returning starter in Nick Bowen. Poland has 2 or 3, I believe. 2 good quarterbacks, but I think that game comes down to who can win the line of scrimmage.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And that's how that game always is. I mean, those are 2 teams, especially now that it's going to be the Pawlansky Bowl. They like to run the clock. They want the clock tick, tick, tick. They don't care if it's 7-0 or if it's, 3-0. We just want the ball control. We want to punt well. We want to get good field position against our opponent and literally play solid defense. That's all they want. Hey, let's roll over, 5, 6, 7 first downs. And if not, let's run 4 first downs and punt the ball. We're okay with that.
Sure.
Old school football, baby. I love it. Also tonight, we've got Niles, we've got Howland. To me, this might be the most under the radar rivalry in the entire area. 2 teams, there's not a whole lot of love lost between these 2 teams out in Trumbull County. Steve, talk to me about what you're expecting from this one and how this one plays out. 2 teams really trying to find their identity this year.
I think they both are, but I go back to last year. Both of them played pretty well towards the end of the year. I think, Holland beat a Warren JFK who plays for a state championship. Niles played some people tough in the NE8, which is a tough league. That's a great Trumbull County matchup in week 1 for the Trumbull County fans. I think that's going to be a fantastic game. You're right. It kind of you don't want to. I don't want to say backseat because that's not fair to those two teams and coaching staffs. But that's a game tonight on our network that a lot of fans will enjoy to tune into.
I agree. Thorny, how do you feel about those two teams?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got two teams that have been constant rivals over the years. You know, people don't realize, but those two schools go way back in what they've done and how they played. And they've also been both challenge schools through the years. They've had tough turnarounds as far as coaches and other things go on there. But they do have great history, and they have great players. Especially on the Helen side that have gone on to do unbelievable things. At the college level and other things. And not saying anything against Niles, but Niles also has that tradition, that Bo Rhine feeling when you talk about that school over there. So it's just a great rival, and it's a good thing those two teams are hooking up now again.
A lot of people think that tonight's going to be a night where you're going to find out who the next Zach Leonard is. You're going to find out who the next whoever is in that era of Howland football that is so famous and so just rich in history. I'm excited to see that. But gentlemen, more than anything, I'm excited. Being a Columbiana County boy, I'm excited to see two teams that are all offense, and I am predicting a lot of points on the board tonight. I'm picking 51-50. If you watched the Power Hour, I picked 51-50 Salem. I think Jackson Johnson is a game changer from the pocket, and then obviously he can skirt with his feet as well. But then on the other side, you got Anthony Cusick. Interesting point. You've got two quarterbacks who, both of which, their fathers are the head coach of the football team. What does that go into? Did you guys you were able to coach your kids a little bit, huh?
Yeah, I was able to be around Daniel a lot. You enjoy every second of that. From a coaching standpoint, to have quarterbacks as a son is a luxury. You go to Bo Brungard and Mark. I've talked about that. You don't see the father-son dynamic between those two. It's business. It's play calling after the games and all that. But those two, Cusick and Johnson, are two of the undershadowed players in our area that don't get the big talk. If I'm a fan tonight, I have my computer, I have something else, and that game's on because there's going to be some points on the board. I remember what Johnson did to Poland in that playoff game last year, watching it at the studio, and Cusick could sling it with the best of them. We've seen him against good defenses. That's a great game.
It's a phenomenal game, and you guys are hitting the nail on the head with this quarterbacks. How about quarterback play in these three counties?
QBU.
It's sickening. We have never had a year like this that I can remember that we've had somebody. When you're talking about, Johnson and Cusick being second-tier quarterbacks,
yep.
They're as elite quarterbacks as we've had in our area, and unfortunately, there are 7 or 8 other guys that are out there, and then they're athletes. I know we're going to talk about other things, but there's probably one of our best athletes in our area playing quarterback at a city school when he shouldn't even be playing quarterback, but they have to out of necessity. I mean, we have some of the greatest talent.
There's no question.
In a lot of years hanging out in this town.
And that's why it's so fun, guys, to talk about this stuff on Thursdays. If you're new to YSN, welcome to the family. Yeah. On Thursdays, you'll be seeing us on primetime from 5 to 6. It's brand new. It's exciting. We're going to be on location. Now, obviously, tonight's game night, but we might get fed a little bit.
Yeah, we'll spruce it up a little bit. We can talk to that. I think his name is JD. I think he's the athletic director at Ursuline.
There might be a slice of pizza or two around here.
But you know what? When we talked about
that's why I was here.
Yeah, we talked about that quarterback. Talked with Seth Antrim last night. Who's the quarterback at Boardman? Jason Treveri. He's playing baseball. Terrence Thomas, that's a pretty good option. He's going to Purdue. Cam Thompson, their wide receiver, has been offered here at Youngstown State, and Robert Morse. We could talk about guys every week. People do not understand how good the individual talent on some of these football teams is. It's one of the better years we've had in a long time.
And to mix the talent, the level of kids that are behind this talent. These kids are absolutely – some of these kids have become adults at a very, very young age. We have some guys in some places. We have a kid going to Boston College that's been a parent to his brother and sister for the last 3-4 years. So, I mean, we have kids in this town. It's just crazy the amount of talent that's around this place. And we'll talk about those stories as the years go.
We have one here tonight, DeMarcus McElroy. You called the game last year, ran for a buck something against a good Poland team. Wait till you see him tonight. You want to talk about somebody that put some time in the offseason. And here's another name for the Ursuline Irish, the young Dunlow boy, the sophomore that can absolutely run the rock.
How about that family?
Yeah, that is there's some excitement at Ursuline. They're going to face a beast tonight, though. There's no doubt about it.
We're excited for all kinds of action tonight. We will have drop-ins from all over the place. All 4 spots, including right here at Stambaugh Stadium, where the Ursuline Irish will be kicking off the 2021 season here tonight. Richie Giuliano will join us at 5:15, followed by, I believe it's going to be Howland and Niles, Alec Caberna, and Matt Morrison will join us at 5:30, and at 5:45 we'll hear from our team over in Salem, Matt Mowry, and, of course, Jared Niederheiser. Guys, if you're just tuning in, welcome to YSN Primetime. We're happy to have you. We're happy all of our sponsors here on YSN. And ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard, this week, absolutely free. Not just the 4 games tonight, but the 21 games tomorrow you'll be able to watch at absolutely no charge, thanks to our wonderful sponsors across the board here at Your Sports Network. So if you have a chance to support these sponsors any way you can, just make sure you tell them that you appreciate they support your kids, your communities, and they support your sports network. Guys, when we talk about how far we've come as a network, I don't want to pat ourselves on the back too much, but I do want to talk about we've got tents now. Like, people are sitting there like, wait a minute, what do you, like, we're not, this is not your typical YSN from a pumpkin patch. We're from Stambaugh Stadium, the Ice Castle, the home of national championships, the home of Jim Tressel. When you think about what we're accomplishing here this week and this week alone, with all the games we're doing, all the coverage that ran from 8 o'clock this morning till right now and through the rest of the night, what does it mean to you?
You know what? It means a ton to me. I think that the growth is off the charts. And I just, for all our YSN fans, it's just beginning. You go back to last year, I think it was in Zanesville for the state semifinal. We were setting up, right behind their sidelines. And here comes Sean Guerrero over to do an interview. I think that athletic directors do a very good job for us. They support what we do. But let's give a shout out to all the coaches from all the sports. They're always there. Mike Pavlansky, all those guys did a coach's corner. Steve Koka. For you fans and for sponsors, that's what we want to do. We'll take it to your place. We'll do a coach's corner at your restaurant. We'll come to your stadium. And that's a credit to you and Brian, because the vision, again, to me, to be in year 4 and have tents and have 21 live games, it's surreal at sometimes. It really is. But it's only the beginning. We're getting great sponsorships. We need more. And I'm proud to be the GM here. I got great friends with all you guys. It's a family. Thorny, I've known my whole life. And it's fun to watch this grow.
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't even have a tablecloth at my home. And here we are with a tablecloth.
That's a nice tablecloth.
It is. The diamond plating. Thorny, you have been around a time or two here at YSN. One of the guys that have been the biggest supporters from outside, and now you're supporting us from within.
The whole key is exactly that. I've been around it. You guys know our broadcast. I've retired from being in the booth, so to speak, and I know what's going to happen week 4.
He's coming back.
It is what it is.
He will be back. You'll see him on for a game.
Love being around kids and being around the family. You two have been, tremendous friends to me and bringing me on to help out and just be able, I always consider myself the Don Zimmer, and some people don't even know who Don Zimmer. Don Zimmer was one of the greatest bench coaches ever. Nothing he ever did got taken by the head coach, but you kept giving ideas.
Yeah,
you keep giving them, and guess what? Something's going to stick somewhere. And fortunately, we've had some good things happen. But I will tell you this too. Since 1976, every Friday night of my life has been spent in the fall on a sideline. From the national championship on a Saturday, when University of Pittsburgh played Georgia back in the day, guess what? I've been there. Now it's time for me to watch, sit back, and enjoy. I'll come on Thursdays, but Fridays, don't bug me.
Those are for you, brother.
Those are for you, and you've earned every one of those to enjoy family playing and do those things. But YSN's a phenomenal thing, and without great people that support it, the sponsors and the great fans we have fans all over.
I had a chance to talk to Ryan Kelly, one of I think what's going to be a great sponsorship with Bellaria yesterday, and I'll tell you what, he asked me what makes it special, and I said it's the local. It is. I mean, it's live, loyal, and local, and we take so much pride in that, the authenticity of our announcers being from those hometowns. The Ian O'Brien's that does the Ursuline Irish games, that's traveling to Hickory next week to announce from the stands. We're willing to broadcast from anywhere as long as you want to watch. So do we have Richie on the line? All right, we're going to bring Richie Giuliano in live from Poland, Ohio, home of the Battle of 224. Richie, talk to me about what's the atmosphere like out there?
It's great. Can you hear me, guys? Can you hear me good? You guys hear me now?
Yeah, a little bit. Go ahead.
All right, I brought Gary along the ride here. We're both in the booth early. Being a hometown kid in Canfield and Poland, they haven't played it over 1,000 days. This is just going to be a special event, and the storylines obviously write themselves. And you got two brothers coaching on their dad's field and their mom, who's going to be doing the coin toss here tonight. It's just going to be a special event, and it's going to be really nice to see all of these fans back in the crowd. Doing these games last year, only family and just close friends. It's going to be really nice to see that student section back.
You broke up there for a second, Richie, but I'm going to ask you a question. Obviously, the main storyline is going to be the Battle of the Pavlanskis, the Pavlansky Bowl. What are the headlines that we're not hearing about right now?
Well, I think you got to talk about the quarterback matchup. And Jack Fulton against Brock Lowry, two quarterbacks who are younger, and now Brock Lowry who's a junior, and Jack Fulton who's a senior. And both guys really experienced. I think these two guys are going to be key in this matchup tonight, bringing their leadership to the table. Jack Fulton, who's now in his third year at the helm of quarterback for Poland, and then Brock Lowry in his second season, who stood out last year both rushing and throwing for over 1,000 yards apiece. So I think those two guys are storylines underneath, of course, the head coach's guy.
Let's bring in Gary Niddle, the YSN Baseball Coach of the Year, real quick. And Gary, I made the joke that I owe you a Geo tracker with roll-up windows, state-of-the-art, because of the car you got yesterday for your beautiful wife. Talk to me about how cool this is for you to see some of your players trot out on the gridiron and be able to watch their success on between those lines.
For me, it's a little special. Another underlying thing that we haven't talked about that we're going to talk about on the broadcast is, some of the other assistant coaches that are on this sideline. You've got two former head coaches, and Joe Ignazio from Boardman, who's now with Canfield, and Chet Allen, who was the head coach at Liberty for a number of years, and I work with him out in Liberty, who's on the Poland sideline. So, you've got an unbelievable staff, both Canfield and Poland, and Jason Morrell, who's an assistant baseball coach, is also the wide receiver coach this year. He came on at Canfield, and we talk about a family affair at Canfield, and that's really what it is. I reached out to the baseball players today and sent them a text and, wished them luck. And, I just went down in the locker room, and when they got off the bus, and you could just see they're ready to go. And it gets me excited. And I know Coach Thorne there, we go way back, and that feeling you get when you see your boys all grown up, and whether it's baseball, football, basketball, track, whatever it is, and you get to see them perform in another sport. And, Brock Lowry, I looked in his eyes and he looked like he could eat me today. He's ready to go. He is ready to go. So I'm excited. I'm pumped.
Hey, things are different when you see that P on the other sideline, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That's exactly it, man. Once again, I said it earlier, your heart beats a little bit heavier when you're playing a rival.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
It
started to rain here a little bit just a couple minutes ago, a little light rain. And it's just, I just talked to Coach Morrell down there. I said, this is like an intense playoff atmosphere. You could feel it. I talked to Coach Tom Pavlansky when we first got here, and you could just see it. It's like, intense.
As long as it's like it was last year, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, that was a great game for both of you guys, for you and Richie. I know, Steve Coca, shout out to him again, one of our sponsors. We did the Coach's Corner over from Coca's Pizza, and Richie did Nicky Bowen, the only offensive line. For both of you guys are going to call the game. In my opinion, that's the key for me in this football game. Which offensive line is going to be able to control themselves and get two pretty good ground games going and give a Brock Lowry that room to open up play action pass off of the offense. Richie and Gary, what are your thoughts offensive line wise for both of these teams?
Yeah, I think for Poland, they have a lot more experience than Canfield. You look at the offensive line, they only have one guy returning on the offensive line.
Yeah, we will. At least I open these up. I'll get it.
So it's going to be tough for the Cardinals.
Thank you.
They're going to have to work through it. And like we talked with Coach Babb, he knows there's going to be some growing pains in that first quarter, but he just wants to see his guys compete.
We apologize for the technical difficulties. We're going to make it. We can hear Gary loud and clear, but we can barely hear Richie. So apologize, Rich. We're running through Gary right now. So
hey, Richie's saving the golden voice.
He saves the golden voice for prime time.
I'll kind of fill in what he just said, because he hit it right on the head. Poland definitely has more experience up front with Canfield only bringing back Nick Bowen. They got 4 unexperienced guys without a lot of experience. And I know there's one baseball player, Connor Miller, who came out this year. And, I was talking to one of the coaches this morning, and he's going to be all over the place. He might even be at center next week. They were talking about moving him over. But they're optimistic with this group. There's some new guys that came out. Another baseball player, Jacob Prout, is going to be a tight end, and they liked what they've seen out of him. He's a senior. He came out this year and, wanted to help out the team any way he could. And so, it's going to be the growing pains, though, today, with it being week 1. I know, everyone's eyeballs are on here, but it's going to be ugly. I mean, Richie and I were talking. It's going to be one of those ugly, just knock them, drag them out games that, everyone's talking Ursuline's going to be high flying with Bishop and, Bishop Hartley. But this is going to be an old school, I think. And, I do believe, I know Thorny said, I think play action is going to be big with Brock Lowry. I think they're going to run Brock early, and then that'll open up the play action, as we get into the game, as the flow starts. But it's going to be a slobber knocker. I know these, they're going to be pounding away on each other. I can tell you that.
Who do you guys anticipate being the players you're going to call the most tonight, both offensively and defensively for each team?
It's got to go through. Richie hit it on the head. I think it's Mr. Fulton and Mr. Lowry. We've heard some rumors, innuendos of some injuries. I'm not going to get into that.
Nope.
He's
playing. Don't worry. I've already checked with Dad.
I know, and that's the funny thing, talking to both Pavlanskis and coaches, but how banged up are they? What are they able to do? I know there's a couple, Canfield guys that are coming in a little banged up as well. But, once that adrenaline starts flowing, I mean, you're going to hear Lowry, you're going to hear Drew Carosi for Canfield. I think is going to play a big role, a little offensively. You're going to see him do something offensively and defensively. Toby Smith. Oliver Kovas is another one to look out for Canfield. The big one, the big loss for Poland is Behringer, not being able to, that one we know. I saw him on the crutches earlier. I played with his dad at Boardman, and his dad was an animal. If you know Ryan Behringer, he scares me to this day. That's a big loss for Poland. So somebody's going to have to step up and fill that role.
Is this a one-score game when it's all said and done?
It could very well be. Richie and I were talking about that as we walked up here. I said, but those are the games you think it's going to be a 7-0, 10-3 game, and before you know it, it could be 35-28. That's the beauty of high school football, especially week 1. Anything can happen. That's why you got to tune in.
Yeah, so you're telling me maybe there may be more points in the Poland Canfield game than there will be in the Salem Crestview game. Is that a little?
No, that is not going to happen. I will take that one. I think they've already scored 3 scores.
I think you're right.
There's 25 letters in the alphabet in Crestview and Salem, and D is not one of them tonight, boys.
That's
Funny you
sure.
bring that up because we were talking about just quarterbacks this year, and I know DJ, you were talking about it with Dana and the guys. I watched the show the other night, and we got Johnson down in Salem. We saw him on the baseball field, and he's a big, strong. We got quarterbacks for days in the Valley this year, and I know you hit on some of them. I think you might have left him out when you guys said the list, but don't sleep on him. He's put together. He slings the ball. I think he's going to have a big year.
We're excited. Gentlemen, have a great call tonight. Thanks for stopping by. We'll let you get prepped up and ready. We know Richie's already got 7 days of prep all ready to go. So, gentlemen, have a fun tonight. Call a great game, and make sure that you hit those ratings hard because we're bringing it home tonight.
Absolutely. Good luck, guys.
You too. There's Richie and Gary, our 2 go-tos, the voices of the Canfield Cardinals. They're doing the Battle of 224 tonight. One of the best voices in all of the area, guys. I'm not even afraid to say it. He is the best, Richie Giuliano, in the Valley.
Yeah,
by far.
No question. He does a great job. He's prepared. He knows that football team and the baseball teams when he does from Canfield. He's proud to be from Canfield, which is awesome. On our end, we talk about YSN and representing your home schools. There's nobody better than those two to call the games, and Richie's the best play-by-play guy.
Yeah, the best part was when you introduced me to him last year was hearing his voice and how well, he is prepared for a game. And the best part was it was Saturday. You told me we were going the following Friday, and on Sunday we met at like 9 a.m. to swap, players and charts. And the best part about Richie is he takes something from everybody. He really does. He's the guy that understands that, hey, if something would happen, we don't have the vision or we don't have the a video feed. He knows how to do the audio even better. He knows how to give the time, the down, the play, the distance, the score. He knows how to do that stuff as the game goes. And that's what I'm proud of seeing, is a kid like that knows I have to give it and I got to bring it every week. There's no off weeks when you're doing this stuff, especially when you're trying to give it to people, especially in a year like we had last year with COVID. You have to give people what they want. So, this year, now that we're looking for viewers, you got to give it even more, step it up.
You're exactly right. We love touting prospects here on the network, whether it's high school or youth. But when we have them in our own kind of roster, like Richie, the kid, and I say kid with tongue in cheek, he's a senior at YSU.
Absolutely.
And my guy, he knows that he's got a home at YSN forever.
So put him up against anybody.
Yeah,
anybody.
No
anybody. And I'm talking professionals. I'm talking anybody, especially here. Richie Giuliano, he's the guy, ace number one. And what the coolest part about that dynamic, those two, is Richie played for Gary Niddle.
Yeah, how about that?
And like now Richie's leading the broadcast and Gary's the sidecar, very knowledgeable, one of the best color guys that we have as well, which makes them so good. But I will tell you this, that when I heard that, Gary doesn't want to do it with anybody but Richie, because he knows it's almost like they can read each other's mind because of so many years of baseball.
Absolutely.
No
That's
question.
a great thing.
And Richie's younger brother's playing for Gary now. It's a very family-oriented team that calls the games. And for you fans, enjoy that tonight because you're listening to two of the best.
We're about 4 minutes away from Alec Caberna and Matt Morrison chiming in from Niles, Ohio, Bo Ryan Stadium, the home of tonight's matchup between the Tigers and the Red Dragons. We want you to chime in. We can, well, I can't read it. We'll have Billy chime in on the microphone with some comments, and we'll pop them up on the screen so that way we can see them. But we want to hear from you. What game are you most looking for tonight to see on the network? And are you going to any of these games tonight? Because, ladies and gentlemen, if listen, COVID is gone right now. We beat, as Jeff Bezos would say, we beat COVID. Get out while you can and enjoy some high school football. And let's listen. Hey, we're watching ourselves right now. You can watch any game you want and be 2, 3, even 4 places at once by watching absolutely free tonight on YSN. So go out, support your favorite football team, cheer for them, but maybe have your phone on. Maybe enjoy that. Yeah. Take an extra battery if you would, because it's going to be a long night, and we've got you right here on your sports network. Once again, want to thank our sponsors making everything possible tonight, not only here, but in Poland, in Niles, and, of course, in Crestview. And then tomorrow, 21 games. 21 games.
Wow.
Like any of these 4 games is a highlight tomorrow. It's the main event. And they're all on Thursday. Like, I saw it, and I thought, you know what, guys? That's frustrating for us because otherwise we're at on 224.
Right.
Otherwise we're in Niles, and we could have easily went to Crestview, no problem. But we thought, you know what? First one, we want to go to our home, the same place that national championships are, and we've got a top team in the state in the Ursuline Fighting Irish. They've come a long way. We talked about it in the open, but now they're here. It's like that song, started from the bottom. Now we're here. What do you think's going on in that locker room right now with Coach Reardon and the guys?
Well, I've been over there a couple times this week, and Coach Reardon's one of those guys. I think, Thorny, what gets me with them is it's not cocky, but it's a confidence. Out of all of them, I think their coaching staff, I'm big. I know you are. If you want to dream and do something, you have to talk about it a little bit. And they're not afraid to talk about state playoffs and state championships. Yes, their schedule is brutal. I mean, could they slip up and lose a few? Yes. But what I like about them, they have a process and a plan, and JD leads it on offense, and Danny does a great job of it as the head coach. They have a plan in place that they think will work for 10 weeks and then through the playoffs.
Modest arrogance.
Sure.
They have a modest arrogance about them. When you sit down and talk with Dan Reardon, you could talk about fishing or whatever, car. It doesn't matter. You could talk about anything because he's calm. He's always, and then once the intensity of game day kicks in, it's absolutely nuts, and it's great to see, man. That talking with him last year when Matthew was playing, just different stories, different scenarios, and just as proud of a dad as possible. Hey, man, by the way, you see my little boys over here, and blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden you get in the game time. It's just boom, straightforward. Let's go. We're coaching now. It's about It's not about today's game.
No,
It's about
there's a plan.
that game 15 weeks from now. I'm
there's a
sorry,
plan.
16 weeks from now.
Yeah,
That's
a
what it's
long way to
about.
go there. But don't
And
you
I
agree?
love that.
Yeah, don't you think that? I think the biggest thing for them is these kids feed off their coaching staff. You're going to see a team that comes out. Yeah, there's going to be excitement, but they will have a plan ready to get ready.
We're going to go to Niles, Ohio, and we're going to bring in Alec Caberna as well as, I believe, Matt's with him. Guys, how are we doing? How's Niles right now?
Doing great. Got some gray skies, though. Hoping it's going to stay clear, though, for this great game.
It's a little wet. The sun is peeking out here.
I love it, guys. You've done your research on this game. This is a game that's kind of flying under the radar across the board right now. It might just because it's Trumbull County, but these are fierce rivals. Talk to me about what your expectations are for this game tonight.
This game is going to be a huge game. I mean, as you all know, Niles lost to Howland last year, last game of the season. Came down to the last possession, ended in a turnover. So Niles is coming out hoping to get some little revenge. So they've been holding that grudge for a while.
And then on the flip side of it, Howland, their message in the locker room, building up into this entire season, number 1 goal, beat Niles. Number 2 goal, get to the playoffs. You can see just where this game sits in all of those Howland players' mind. Both sides going to see a lot of new faces on the field today, some new quarterbacks, some good returning running backs that had great freshman season, some big old lines, some new guys playing on the offensive line, and a whole lot of defensive line play that's going to give us some fun things to watch today.
Gentlemen, you hit the nail on the head. Some new faces to watch. Who are you expecting to call their name out a lot tonight? Whose parents are going to be extremely happy?
I mean, you got to look at the running back for Niles. I mean, Antoine Gardner, this guy led the team in rushing yards last year as a freshman, and they got a new quarterback in there after Zach Leonard left. He was a quarterback there for 3 years. Now they have a new quarterback. So they're going to be handing the ball off for a while until that quarterback gets his feet wet. So Gardner, we're going to be calling his name a lot.
And on the flip side, Howland, it's going to be either Luca Masucci or John Perry. They're going to be running a 2-quarterback system here tonight. So Perry, the younger sophomore quarterback, Masucci, more experienced, very athletic. He's going to get the ball in a lot of different situations tonight. We could even see some situations where 2 quarterbacks put on the field. They're going to bring in John Perry at the quarterback, potentially use Masucci out wide, send him deep. I got a feeling both those guys are going to get a lot of attention tonight on the broadcast.
I feel like we've got it kind of all over the place tonight. We've got games that we're going to see high scoring down in Columbiana County. We feel like we've got games that we feel it's going to be an eker. Whoever stands the best on 224 against Poland and Canfield is going to win. Where do you guys think this one is going to be? I think this is the wild card of the bunch for me. How do you feel like this one's going to go? What's the tempo?
Well, obviously last year, 1 possession ball game, 42-36. If you look at the recent years, though, it has not been that close. 35-21 back in 2019. 2018, it was 28-6, 42-3 before that. A lot of blowouts, and I'm kind of expecting the same thing here tonight. Howland is returning 4 out of their 5 offensive linemen, running 2-quarterback system, are absolutely full of talent, higher ranked in the state last year at the end of the season. I think they got the better chance. If they can get their new guys in there, I feel like Howland's got a great chance to rip this thing wide open.
I agree with him. Howland's got a lot of players that are the stack. And Niles is just working with new players. They got the new quarterback. It could very well go Howland's way tonight.
I love it, guys. And if you've never listened to these two guys,
you'll love it.
You need to have a water because your heart's going to be pumping. I can only imagine what it's going to be with these guys tonight. Alec Caberna as well as Matt Morrison, one of the most exciting tandems on the network. Make sure you tune in. It's Howland, it's Niles, it's 2 of our best doing it tonight. Guys, have fun with it, enjoy, and we'll be listening.
Thank you, everybody. Get those plastic forks ready. We're going to need to cut some tension here.
Plastic forks. Thanks, guys. Oh, my goodness. I mean, we listened to them last year, and they make reading a Dr. Seuss novel exciting.
Was it? I might not have been the last year or the year before. There was a rain delay, and they did like an hour. Last year. They was phenomenal.
Turned
Just
it around.
Talking college football and going into
hey.
big games, those two. And you've talked about this. If you want to do sports and announce, this is the place to come
It
to.
is.
There's no pressure that you don't have to be perfect. You learn, and that's what, Thorny, I know how you are. These young guys excite me because they get better every year.
They get better, and you know what's great about it is being able to teach. Just being able to say, "Hey, listen, this is all we're asking you to do. Now take it, put your spin on it. We don't want robots. We don't want everybody to come out and do the same thing. We just want to be able to, first of all, let's give the game.
Yep.
And second of all, give it with your voice.
Yep.
Don't give it with a fake voice. Give it with what you got. Give it with your heart. And we have the talent. We have the ability to teach. We'll just go with coach. I mean, we'll coach them up, right? We've been doing it our whole lives.
Yep.
We'll coach them up. You bring them to us. They get to sit down at boot camp and literally learn from some of the best in the area. And the young ones, that's one of the easiest reasons why it was for me to step away, because we have so many good guys. And I'd much rather give someone else a chance. I had my chance, man. It was a great run. So now
we're going to have to make way.
We're going to make way.
We got a guy coming in. Who could this be? The legend himself, Coach Reardon. How are you, sir?
I'm well. How are you guys doing?
How are you feeling? Week one, a little bit earlier this year. Is it kind of surreal for you right now?
So this summer was very accelerated as a result of everything, and so yeah, it's a little bit surreal. Feels like we should just be scrimmaging tonight, but I think we're ready to go.
So you've got a team 3 years ago, Steve and I were talking, that was scraping wins together, just doing the best they could, and now you've got a team that's at the top of the state. How much work have these young men put in to get there?
Yeah, our kids have bought in, and I think it's a testament to their character and everything. We have a lot of guys who have played a lot of football for us, and definitely took some lumps 2 years ago with some of the same guys, and we got better and better last year, and hopefully this year we can put it all together.
We're excited for you. You open up against a team that is, going to go toe-to-toe with you. They're going to back up some punches. Are you expecting a heavyweight showdown here tonight?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game. I have a ton of respect for Coach Birchfeld and their staff, and they've done a great job over the years. And they're in a similar boat as us. They lost in the regional finals last year, have a lot of guys back. So both teams have high expectations.
Stevie, you got anything?
Yeah, I just want to talk to you from a dad standpoint. Let's go for your wife and yourself. Let's talk about Matthew a little bit over at Miami of Ohio. Talk about that progress a little bit.
Yeah, it's so he's down there in camp right now, and they open up September 4th against Cincinnati, and he's plugging along and trying to find his way, and hopefully get on the field somewhere.
Well, he was brought up the right way. There's no question. Thorny, I'm sure you have something for him. But we talked a lot about DeMarcus McElroy. Coach, I saw a lot of these guys in the last couple of weeks. What they've done, and you've talked about this, in the offseason in the weight room is tremendous.
Yeah, I think our kids really attacked it this offseason. And, we have a much, much stronger football team than what we've had over the past couple of years.
Thorny, you got something?
Yeah, Coach, first of all, me. We worked together at Second Soul 150 years ago, and it's all about the swag. And I got to tell you, you were an Oakley guy for a lot of years, and I see you broke out the Ray-Bans, man. Times have changed. Come on.
I don't even know what to say to that.
You shouldn't. That's why I throw it at you. I like to get you off key a little bit. Coach, I've seen your offensive line now grow over the years. You got some great kids. You had a couple holes to fill. And from the scrimmage, I see that you guys are in a situation where I think those holes have pretty much been plugged. How they go up front is pretty much going to. I know you got the athletes and the speed outside and the athletes to go and get it, so to speak, in the agility end. But the offensive line is pretty much a solid spot for you guys.
Yeah, we have we returned 4 out of 5 starters, and so it's a veteran group. They're a group of kids that really have great camaraderie with each other, and they live together. They spend all kinds of time together. They're always having fun, doing all those things, and that goes a long, long way.
Coach, no matter where you've been, we've always talked about, your kids and family, and that's huge because your kids do things together. I mean, the trips that you guys have gone on, just bringing the kids on college visits and college recruit trips and just camp trips, man, it's always about family, no matter where you've been over the years. That's the biggest key, and I think that's why you're so successful over the years and why the Ursuline family is the way it is.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it, and it's something that we're trying to be intentional with, and our kids have bought into it, so.
Coach, I just want to thank you. 3 years ago, we sat on a golf cart together. We hit 18 at the Louisville outing, and I just explained what YSN was, and you were bought in from the jump. I can't thank you enough for how much you mean to us and for the support that you've had over the last 3 years.
Yeah, there was some high-level golf being played that day. But yeah, we appreciate the coverage, obviously, and I think it's a great service you guys provide, and good to be out here for another year of it.
Coach Dan Reardon here dropping in on us out of nowhere.
Good luck, Reardon.
Thank
Good luck,
you, Coach. Wow, that was cool.
Yeah, that's a good.
That's
good.
that's
What
how
do
it
they
works.
call it? Prime time.
Prime Time Live right here on the
I
network.
like the Ray-Ban one. You got
well,
him
that's
there.
it, man. I saw it right away,
Zinger.
man. I know gear. I've been around it my whole life, and my man, we geared it up back in the day at Second Soul. He and I, believe me.
But what we talked about, you see that. Just
Yep.
a calm, a swag, a confidence. But they know what they're in for tonight. They're in
Mellow.
for a dogfight.
Mellow arrogance.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, is that was confidence if I've ever seen
Yeah.
it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
100%.
How many coaches are going to – and maybe
over and talk.
we'll find out, I
Yeah.
guess, but it's a different atmosphere because they've got a game
They're
in
relaxed. An hour.
an hour.
You know, one
An hour and
of our comrades, and Rick Shepis, if you ever went to go to a game of his,
Yeah.
he's in the middle of the game. We're at Teal College. There's 4 of us on the sideline.
Yeah,
They're buddies of his. He walks over, has his hands on his knees. Big time in the game. He looks over and goes, guys, isn't this beautiful?
Yeah.
I'm
We're
like,
lucky.
dude, you're supposed to be coach. It doesn't matter. I'm
Yeah.
taking it in with my friends.
We're lucky.
You know, that's
That's
exactly, we
awesome.
have
You
some
said
great
that.
people,
We're lucky
man.
with the people we have. Yeah.
And we're
These
lucky that we
coaches-
have guys like you two around.
Yeah,
that these
you and
people
Brian,
respect.
and I'm going to shout them out real quick. Brian Scott's over
Absolutely.
here on the other side. You two are partners. Your dream is phenomenal, and it's only going to get better. So hats off to everything he does that people do not understand
They don't see
that goes on. No, they don't see it, but without him,
the wizard.
we're lost.
Yeah, there's I mean, he is by far like
Especially on my end of it. Like if if I couldn't message him and talk to him throughout a broadcast, I wouldn't probably be doing. You would have got rid of me 3 years ago because from a social media standpoint, Stefan's not very good.
so I got to be honest. He was talking to me as you'll be joining Audible Call
Yeah,
tomorrow.
tomorrow with
and
Mike.
what's going to be interesting is he actually looked at me dead serious and says, "Hey, I think Steve can run the board."
Yeah.
And I just stared at him for a second, and he laughed. If you
Yeah,
know
'cause
Brian,
he knows. The laugh tells it all because he knows
There's
darn well
no
when I
chance.
get there tomorrow, there's no chance it happens. But Mike Alkelson for that show is the best in what he does.
make sure you tune in tomorrow. If you've never seen the Audible Call last year, well, I can't.
Yeah,
You
it'll be
missed
fun.
it. I mean, you're gonna see something special tomorrow. We had 155 touchdowns one
yeah.
week,
He'll get it. He wants to beat it. He's
Crazy.
prepared. He's ready to go.
Madness.
and it's again absolutely free. So I know it's going to be on tomorrow at Firestone Farms.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to a game
Go
tomorrow
eat at
for some
Firestone
reason,
Farms.
How
Go-
awesome is that?
go. I mean, and that's cool. Like the support from the community has been fantastic.
Coca's Pizza will be hopping tonight, and then
Yeah.
Boardman tomorrow for Boardman Mooney. There's a lot of great sponsors, and you've said this. Support them and go to their places and watch the game.
because they support us. I mean, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here, boys. Brian and I would have packed it up and said, "Hey,
Well, don't pack it up.
We
yet.
didn't
We're
do
just
it.
started.
no, this baby's just beginning." We are getting about a couple minutes away from hearing from Matt Mowry and hopefully Jared Niederheiser over at Crestview High School, the home of the
They
Rebels.
might be out of breath already.
Yeah.
How about these other games this weekend? I mean,
What's your
it's
favorite? What's
crazy.
the one you're most looking forward to tomorrow?
I got to tell you, my favorite game in the area. Now, my Cheney people will be upset with me, but my favorite game in the area is always a Boardman Mooney game. It's just a great game. It's two teams that respect each other, that play one another.
Yep.
You know, there was a lot of bitching over the years about these two teams not playing, but guess what? They play. They're not guys that duck one another, and it's a great community game that's packed. I mean, you know, you're looking at literally anywhere from 6,000 to 10,000 people at those games
Yeah.
every year.
Yeah.
Last year was just so miserable with what we had that this year.
Couldn't enjoy it.
Look at tonight. What's going to happen in Poland? The crowd. It's going to be sick. But the Cheney Fitch game, the history of the game, not necessarily in recent years because of not having a program, but just the history of. That's the West Side Rivalry. They're back.
Yeah.
It's back. It's being played, and that's just a great thing for our area to see these teams play. I think it's phenomenal.
You talk about guys that make you want to run through a wall. TJ Parker
Yeah,
today.
he
Oh
will.
my goodness.
Yeah, he'll make you run
Insane.
through one. And let's go. We talk about expanding our horizons. JD's done a very good job as the athletic director to get this to
Thank you, JD.
Yeah, Bishop Hartley, and we'll have some folks tuning in from Columbus listening. But my game tomorrow is Cheney Fitch. You look at that game last year, no crowd, and Chris Emile and the Cheney boys had Fitch on the ropes and really had him beat till about the middle of the fourth quarter. That will be another slobber knocker tomorrow night. But TJ Parker, what he's doing over there, and as young as he is, and how much and how hard those kids play for him, Fitch could be huge.
Let me tell you one game that I think the world will be watching, and that is South Range and Springfield.
How about that?
Week 1, like, what do we get week 2? You know, like all of these high main event round matchups that are really, a lot of these should be playoff games.
Yes.
A lot of these should.
Remember, there were week 10 games.
Yep.
In the past, there were week 10 games.
Yep.
Get to what you need in the week 10. But how about this? You're playing right now. There's 16 teams that get in. I know you guys have talked about this.
Right.
But guess what?
You're going to
play your rival game at the beginning of the year, and if you lose, guess what? You're still going to get
time to make it up.
Get better.
You can make it. Yeah, you can make it up. You know, when it's 8 teams, you still have some time to make it up. At 16 teams,
you got a lot.
We're going to see a lot of 6 and. I mean, guys, when there were 8 teams in the playoffs, we saw teams that were 2 and 8 make the playoffs.
Right, you're going to be
think
6
about
and
this.
4s, yeah.
Think about what could happen. I know your opinion. I've already heard you. Hey, give me 8 and that's it. Some other yo-yo on TV the other day said 4. I'm like, well, whatever. But the whole deal is 8 teams is perfect. It's so perfect.
Was he wearing beige?
Did
he look like
guy.
a Ghostbuster?
You guys know I love Poe. He's just a good dude. But anyway, the whole story is 8 teams is great because you have to win. You have to work to win. You know that if you put 7 wins together in your schedule, you got a shot. And I'm not going to say you're in because we've seen those 9 and 1, those 9 and 1 Division
Springfield's
6
a prime
and Division 7
example.
teams that don't get in at 9 and 1. So usually, the mark's there though. You get to 7 wins, you've had a pretty good year, and you're going to make the playoffs. Now, if you're getting 4 and 5 wins, you're in. Now, you got a huge schedule. It's going to help you.
Crazy question for you guys.
Yes.
Do we have a state champion this year?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to say Ursuline.
Billy Mack throws up the U.
Boy, I got to tell you what. I think it's going to be between those 2 teams from our area playing later in the year because I've watched LeBray 3 times this year practice, and I think it's between the U and LeBray, and I can't call it.
Those 2 teams are going to meet up.
Right.
They're going to have to.
That's exactly. And
yeah.
It's crazy.
Don't sleep on Dan Yeagley's team. You know,
Yeah,
we haven't.
I know what lays ahead for them, and Sean Guerrero,
I was just going to say,
family member.
So-
I think they'll be there too.
I think your pick of a great team is I think they have probably the best shot to just
JFK?
land it is JFK.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you hear nothing about it.
Look up.
You said it
they're
on the air the
huge.
other night. They're big.
They're huge.
I got
Kieran
a message.
gets the snap with his real arm this year.
How about that?
And you look at it's Trip Kieran. And
Yeah.
He's a kid that nobody talks about for some
No,
reason.
He started since he walked into place.
You know why?
Kid's nails.
You know why? Because he's up front. They don't get talked about a lot. There's not a lot of paperwork, but guess what? There's colleges talking about him.
Very
There's
well
other
coached.
schools talking about him.
We talk about LFG a lot. That kid is
Yep.
GSD.
Coach Pelogo supports us big time and is
Yep.
always there for us. That's a great call on your
GSD,
part.
I love
Again, if you go every division, Division 2's hard. We know that where our teams at.
Division 1 and 2 are just insane.
From 3 down, we could get a team in a state championship.
Really, and you know what? I think we're at that point around this area because I know we talk about the MAC all the time, and everybody should bow down to the MAC. I'll be honest. In Youngstown, we don't take a knee for anybody.
No.
You're not going to get us. You're not going to get us. We're a stand up and punch you in the mouth
Yeah, I
and
think
wipe our chin.
yeah.
That's where we are.
Coldwater got a little taste of that last year from Mr. Brungard. They thought that they were going to go into the game and stop this kid. We don't think they got a pretty good look at number 21 in that state championship.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, guys, I mean, I look at Coldwater and I think of John Reed's teams
Yeah.
back in the day, won 7 state
Trip
titles.
place.
But I'll never forget, as legend goes in our area, there was an Ursuline coach in the sideline going to John Reed saying, number 3 and number 5 every play. When 3's in the game, 3 gets the ball. When
Right.
5's in the game, 5 gets the ball. He would tell them. And they couldn't stop him because they had over
tailback
500 yards and 7 touchdowns that
Terrence
night when
Graves
Ursuline won their
yeah.
first state title
Terrence
against
Graves
Coldwater
and
that year. It was
Delbert Ferguson.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
So much fun.
It's this area is loaded with talent. I'm with you.
about
We take a
coaches?
backseat. Yeah, coaches are.
Oh, my gosh.
And I was going to ask you guys, talk to me about if you have one coach, and Dana posed this the other night. If you have one coach that you want for one game to coach you, to lead you out of that tunnel, and a guy that you're going to put yourself on the line for, who is it? Because there's a wealth. It's an abundance. And it's not fair because you're going to leave somebody out.
Go ahead.
Mine passed away in his memorial services tomorrow, Ed Mady. I would have done anything for the guy. And I pretty much have an idea of who yours is going to be, Stevie.
Yeah, I would say
There's
Don
others
Butchie.
that are unbelievable.
Yeah, Don Butchie was that guy that just instilled confidence in Cardinal Mooney, and
No.
I think they had 4 plays, but they were really good.
Hey, they were the best 4 plays ever.
This era, wow. Give me a Dan Yeagley, give me a Sean Guerrero, give me a Dan Reardon. Those
How do
three.
you? I mean,
You can't. Mike Pavlansky.
Prologo.
I don't want to slight anybody. That's that whole list has.
Yeah, you're not. The nice part is this is who you
It's
think.
fun
You
to
know,
talk
it's
about
fun
for
to talk
10
about.
weeks. We're
And
going to
that's
talk
why we're
about
media.
every
That's
one
why
of
we're
them.
media.
That's why
Media's
we're here
fun.
every Thursday.
We're not
It's
going to
our
get beat
job
up on
to
this thing.
promote it.
Hey, I'd love to play for this guy.
Yeah.
Tell me you wouldn't want to play for Dan Reardon.
You know who I have some of the utmost respect for that never gets talked about? Two guys, actually. Matt Seidel at Sebring.
Yes.
That no matter what the outcome is, he has his guys ready to play. There was a rumor that he might have to play a JFK, and he goes, "We'll have our guys ready."
Yeah.
And that's the
Bring
runner
him
up
to
in
the
Division
table, man.
7. And then Tony Foster in East Palestine.
That's a good one.
How about that?
A guy that no matter how many kids, who suits up for him, when they suit up, he has his kids prepared the best he can. And I want a coach that wants to fight in the trenches with me. And that's who those two guys are. Because they're both O linemen, D linemen.
And how about you got guys like that have an offer for the season? All of a sudden, they could literally pull the plug last year and said, we're good. No, we're going to play an extra game, man. Let's get these kids more experience and let's get a win.
I want my kids to have a win.
Absolutely,
yes.
God bless them, and that's the coolest thing. And how about like the intense coaches in our area? That
the bubble.
The best thing I've ever seen.
See, wait, Deej, you're not supposed to mention just one coach. That happens.
Sean Guerrero just did that.
I did.
You
Yeah,
did,
I know.
he did.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah,
If you're watching,
Soaked.
DJ's soaked.
Soaked.
No, the coaches in our area.
This thing's going back.
And they support everything we do at YSN. That's the good part of what we do.
Bill Boren. He's been around forever, still coaching. Guys stuff like
87,
crazy, absolutely crazy. Larry Kemp. Tell me you wouldn't play for Larry Kemp. Brian Fedeschi. Look at the names. It's sick. Bob Spate, Ron Burtis. I mean, there are people, that have been around for.
Yeah,
for
my father-in-law, John Kopp, with Mady and those guys. They're the old school coaches.
How about John Kopp?
Yeah.
Tell me you don't want to run through a tunnel for John Kopp.
I got a lot of flack the other night for saying this, but a guy like Andy Hake being back gets my motor running.
Sure, it does.
He's nuts.
Absolutely.
He's nuts.
Made a
He's
mistake.
insane.
No, he owned it. He lived up to it. Youngstown Valley Christian's got a great coach over there. Look out for them. There's another team that's off the
he's
radar.
got Brett Powell with him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a what do we call it? Hall of Fame wrestling coach in his program.
That'll have
that was basically one of the best football players in our area that can pretty much teach any kid anything. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, there's no question.
Dave Hartman back in the day at Fitch was a guy that ran Bird Dog every day. You heard Bird Dog. You'd hear the whistle. The steps, wing T. It was sick.
Dick Engel.
How about we didn't even mention McDonald. I mean, you got Danny Williams. It's been there for year after year after year after
gets,
year.
What, eight wins a year, 10
just
wins,
just wins. And year in year out, they say, well, he may not be around next year. But
this year, I don't know. They're not real talented this year. 8 and 9,
and he gets 8 wins.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
And there were guys back in the day. I mean, Dick Engel was probably one of our greatest coaches for a lot of time at Ursuline, and kind of gets let go because he went 7-3.
Right.
What school in their right mind is going to let a coach go at 7-3?
Here's one, DJ. I know you'll appreciate that. I'm looking forward to see what they do. Mark Asen did a great job at Jacksonville. He's over at East.
Absolutely.
Great model for those kids over at East to play for.
100%.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. What a role model. And look at the Ultimores down in Latonia. I mean, they just brought that place through, and now Matt's over at Lisbon. I mean, it is such a cool place and cool town here and all these different people, different coaches at different places.
Offensive coordinators.
Look at
our offensive coordinators are not very good in our area.
The guy who made this possible, we owe a lot to.
Come on over here.
He's got to sneak in. Did you bring us pullovers? That's all we want to know. What's up, Coach? That's what we figured.
So, 11th hour, you get a text from some guy saying, "Hey, do you mind if we put up a tent and hang out a little bit?"
You guys are a little bit more to the middle of the field than what I thought. I thought you were going to be in the corner.
Well, I talked to Trevor.
He's
like,
watch during warm-ups.
Yeah. Well,
Hey.
I already got dumped on. We're good. We're good. Excitement level for you for tonight.
Through the roof. Kids have worked so hard all summer long, all off season long. Coaches have worked really hard to put together a good game plan. So it's going to be exciting to have fans back in here, more than just parents and grandparents. I know our student body is really excited. It's the first football game they've been to in 2 years. So they're ready to roll.
Is it weird for you to be playing in week 0?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, August went so fast. And, you had to accelerate everything we did in preparation, through 2-a-days and, even in July and June, which are, more conditioning and strength and conditioning and things like that. So definitely a lot more at a faster rate, but, we've got some guys with a lot of experience, which was a benefit, I think, in our preparation.
Brady Shannon, Dean Boyd, tag team champions of the world this year.
I sure as heck hope so.
That's
two really, really talented kids. Obviously, you've heard about, Dean's news over the last couple of days. Brady, obviously, multi-sport guy. Both of them are multi-sport guys. But we got a lot of guys who have a ton of experience, who we're expecting, big things from this year. So hopefully we can put it all together.
Thorny, you got anything?
Well, no, I just know how Coach JD is. They're pretty much just going to run the ball up the middle and do nothing else all year because we don't want to be creative and exploit any of our receivers or our quarterback like that. Coach, it's going to be so much fun. Just watching these kids and you being able to take a playbook that you've had for a lot of years and be able to open it to a lot more pages that are there for you right now.
Yeah. So Coach Reardon and I, going back to 2007 or 8, I think is when we made the change to a more spread look.
Right.
And so there's been things for the last 15 years or so that we've been just kind of building on, and evolving. So a lot of things that we've done throughout the course of the years based on the talent that we've had. I think this year with the experience and the, Brady being so far ingrained into our playbook, I'm hoping that means we could open things up a little more.
Quick thing, when you have a quick turnaround or a quick year like this, and you don't have as many camp days, so to speak, and as many doubles days and ability to hit as much, how do you feel the kids are? And we'll go with Ursuline's program because that's what we're talking. How do you feel the kids are as far as health wise and as far as what stamina will be like here in the early ages or stages of the season?
So regardless, whether it's August 19th or August 28th or whatever, week 1 with the humidity every year, is always a big test of what did you do all summer long and all off season long. We've been preaching since December about taking care of your body, nutrition, hydration, weightlifting, conditioning, all of those things. So, it'll be interesting to see tonight how we apply all of that.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome. I'm glad you guys are going to be prepared. There's no doubt about it.
Ursuline offensive coordinator Johnny DeSantis with us. The guy made this possible today. So thank you very much for your flexibility and always your support, my brother.
Absolutely. And thank you guys for everything you do for our kids.
You got it,
Thanks.
man.
JD, they wanted to go in the center of the field. I told them no. They really did. They wanted to be on the Penguin.
We'll see you guys.
Thanks.
Good luck, Coach.
There we go.
All right, that's we are not going to hear from, unfortunately, our colleagues
still
over in
scoring.
Crestview. Yeah, they're trying to catch their breath in a moment of zen before
You want to
all
talk
hell
about
breaks.
two guys that need to know that roster and know every receiver that may catch a pass in that game.
How about that? Exactly that. You have your spreadsheet of 14 receivers, 5 running backs, and
wow.
exactly.
We are roughly an hour away from kickoff here, there, and everywhere here on the network. If you're on your way to a game, be safe, cheer your heart out, but make sure mostly you tune into YSN for the other games here on the network tonight. For tonight, 21 tomorrow here on the network. We'll have Coaches Corners throughout the day as well. And as always, stay tuned to ysnlive.com for all updates, cancellations, and changes. If you're looking for an easier way to motor around our website, go to ysnlive.com/live and click on whatever link you want to for whatever game you want to start with. It's all free. Enjoy it. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to Billy Mack, our producer, our director, Brian Scott, and you two goons. I appreciate you spending some time with me and getting me.
Yeah, you got nice
wet.
and wet. I'm all right.
How
about
about
you?
we planned that pretty good, didn't we?
Sent him over to that chair. No, you know what? This is going to be
You asked him what chair he wanted,
Yeah,
right?
He picked it. So this is going to be a great every Thursday for us, no
Can't
matter
wait.
where we go.
Awesome.
We'll let you know where we're at next week. If you want to be a home for YSN Primetime every Thursday for the rest of the year, contact us at ysnlive.com or info@ysnlive.com.
Have food ready.
For Todd Thorne, Steve Leslie, I'm DJ Yoakley saying so long, everybody, from Youngstown, Ohio.